Silence. Welcome back to the Tangent Podcast, everybody. Jack, how you doing today?
That was a blissful opening. I'm great.
Thanks.
Thank you for starting us off with a little mini meditation there.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We hope you're doing well as well.
I have no
What did you do?
I have no idea. Is that me?
I don't know. It
I
might
didn't
have
do
been me.
anything.
I don't know. I think one of us hit the spring with our cable or something.
Or we're haunted.
Ghosts.
That's the only
Dude,
explanation.
I want to be haunted at least once in my life.
I don't think you do.
Just to, have a cool story. Not really. Ghosts actually don't listen to me.
Yeah, you're gonna get the Conjuring haunting kind of thing.
Yeah. I wish I had more cool stories, but yeah, I probably don't want to be haunted, actually. Let me take that back.
Good. I think I'm glad you came to your senses.
Yep.
What are we drinking?
Oh, I'm actually excited for this, considering all the C4s have been not great. But we're drinking C4 Blue Raspberry Jolly Rancher today.
He said, I'm excited for this because C4s haven't been
I said
great.
despite that the C4s
Right,
haven't
and then
been
you went,
great.
we're drinking C4.
Yeah, but it's Blue Raspberry, and everybody knows. There's no contest. Blue Raspberry is the best Jolly Rancher flavor.
That is true. I don't know. It kind of smells like cough syrup to me.
Oh, you're right. I can definitely get Blue Raspberry Jolly Rancher out of that.
Uh-huh.
It's not as, pungent or
Yeah,
strong as
that's
I thought it would be.
Yeah. It is less powerful than I was expecting.
I like that a lot.
It's subtle.
I'm going to give it an 8. I like it a lot.
Let me try it one more time.
The best of all the C4s for me, by far.
Yeah, that's a 7. That's a 7.5.
7,
maybe.
huh? You know what I miss? Giants.
Dude, Giants.
I'm going to look that up, because, the last time I looked it up, a year ago, it was still a thing, but you could only buy it on Amazon.
Oh, we got to do that then.
Giants Energy. Because we're running out of... Let's see. It's still a thing. Also, do you remember 7-Eleven's brand that was called Raze Energy? R-A-Z-E.
Yes.
And we had, 2 of their flavors.
That was 7-Eleven?
Yeah, it was their, in-house Raze Energy brand.
Really? I bought those. I thought I bought those online.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I remember I bought, a big variety pack.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah, so Giants is still a thing. I just remember their Frostberry being, the best drink I've ever had in my life.
I remember an apple
The
one.
Fuji apple.
Yeah.
Yep. We're going to buy those again and re-rank them. But, yeah, I give it an 8. It's tasty. I will finish it, unlike the other ones. I probably finished the other ones, too, but not happily.
Right. What are we talking about today, Austin?
Oh, man. Am I kicking it off, then?
I guess so.
Okay. We got some interesting stories today of some mysterious disappearances.
Mysterious disappearances.
Yes. Which are always fun. And I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm quite excited.
Yeah, I kind of picked my topic yesterday.
Okay.
So, and then it changed today because I changed my mind.
I feel like I'm listening to my own, I get to listen to a podcast today, too, with you. So, I am talking about the disappearance of Lieutenant Paul Whipkey. And so he was a lieutenant in the Army. He graduated from ROTC, which is Reserve Officer Training Corps, in 1954, and got a degree in civil engineering, too, and then he wanted to get his flight wing, so he became a pilot for the Army in 1956. And then after he finished flight school, his first assignment was... this was height of the Cold War time, so nuclear weapons testing was big. And so he was assigned to a camp in Nevada that was called Camp Desert Rock, where they were doing nuclear bomb testing. And so he was assigned on an operation that was called Operation Plum Bomb. Plum Bomb.
Plum Bomb. That's fun to say.
I don't know if it's plum like the fruit or plum like a plumber, but Plum bomb.
Or Plumbathy.
Plumbathy, yep.
That's you.
Plumbomacy, yep.
Plumbo.
Plumbo. Did you set it to Plumbo? So he was he was on Operation Plum Bomb, and this was where they were monitoring nuclear weapons tests. So they were doing both underground and above ground, like weapons explosions in the desert, and then monitoring the effects. So it was kind of like simulating an area where soldiers could be in like a nuclear war zone, basically. And his job, since he was a pilot, was he was flying planes over the blast zone to monitor the effects of the bombs, and then kind of see what happened afterwards. And so there were like 26 total tests conducted as part of this operation. He was documented on at least 5 of them. And one thing the Army told these soldiers was like, yeah, you guys are going to be safe. Like, you'll be out of the like radiation zone. You'll be fine. But it was like all a lie. They really weren't. They were pretty close. And so he started to get really sick, and it started with, he got all these black moles like all over his body. And then he started getting like super painful blisters on his hands, and then all of his teeth started falling out.
Oh.
So the Army, he was going to like treatments all the time, but they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't fix it or cure it. So they pulled all of his teeth out and gave him a set of fake dentures. And then he had like a ton of stomach issues, and he like didn't want to eat because he just had stomach issues and stuff. And so he like lost a ton of weight, and he just started to go downhill like over just a couple of months. He went from like peak physical form, like Army guy, to like super deteriorated. All of his teeth fell out, and he was like crazy sickly. Lost a bunch of weight, and then his mental health like started to tank too. So he was pretty well known for being a really good soldier. He was really well respected. He was an officer, so he had subordinates below him. They all like loved him, respected him. He kept in contact with his family. He was like a great family man. And people started to notice that he really started, like, his behavior started to change too, because his mental health was like declining. And so he started to, and his physical health. So he started to separate himself from like his family and his friends. And he had just this kind of crazy few months where he really went downhill fast. And then he gets transferred to a new base that is called Fort Ord. This is in October 1957. So he's been on this operation for just like less than a year. So he gets transferred to this other place, and people just like really start to notice his behavior becoming really erratic. Like they notice that almost kind of like schizophrenic in a way, where he's like really paranoid all the time, and he's always like looking over his shoulder. And people would say like they described it as he was like being watched, or he felt like he was being followed or stalked or something like that. And so they kind of chalked it up to him maybe like losing his mind a little bit with his radiation sickness, or just kind of going through like a tough mental time, like a little mental breakdown or something from all of his sickness. And so he requested to leave the base to go into town on July 10th, 1958. This is in California. So that's where Fort Ord was like kind of out in the desert in California. And so he requests to leave the base to go into town, and his superiors viewed it as like, oh, he's really struggling right now. We'll just let him go to town and get a drink. Like it'll be a good break for him from the base, you know? And this was the last time he was ever seen by anybody, like documented as being seen. So that was July 10th. His brother calls in the next day, and his brother's name is Carl. And he had been really trying to keep in contact with Paul because he noticed that Paul was starting to distance himself from his family and like really going downhill fast. So he's like, oh man, I better keep tabs on my brother. Like his health is bad. I just need to try and keep in contact with him. So he called the base, and he got this operator on the phone that told him that Paul was listed as going AWOL the day prior, which is absent without official leave. So usually, like, if a soldier goes AWOL, like, yeah, it's noticeable, but it's not like a big. It means that they don't yet have evidence to show that the soldier deserted his like post. It's just that we can't find him, basically.
Okay.
So it's nothing like crazy alarming, but yeah, we know that he's gone. And so we're just kind of like waiting to see what happens, basically. So he gets told on the phone that he's listed as AWOL, but for Paul, that was really odd because he never missed work. He was like really professional and reliable soldier. And so his brother Carl also said that the operator that was on the phone was like kind of elusive with him, and Carl was trying to press him for more details about Paul's AWOL, like his disappearance. And the operator just said that Paul was classified as AWOL. He hadn't officially deserted, but before even 24 hours after he was listed as AWOL, there had been men already packing up his room and like shipping his stuff out, which actually was illegal because in the military, it was required by law to, if a soldier went missing, then they have to notify the family before anything. Like they have to tell the family before they can ship any belongings. They have to tell the next of kin. And the family was never contacted. He only heard because he called the base and he was told that his brother was AWOL, but the military never called them and told them. And so he's like, this is really, really weird. This is super strange. And by the time they cleared out his room, he'd barely been missing for 24 hours. So it's like he could have, like, that's not a lot of time to be missing. No. And he left the base, too. So it's like he easily could have come back
he might,
soon, you know?
Yeah. Could be back tomorrow kind of thing.
Yep, but he never came back. And so Carl did remember that he had a conversation with Paul a few months before this, and Paul had mentioned, like, excitedly on the phone with him, kind of like in whispers, that he was getting put on a special assignment that would, quote, make a name for himself. And then Carl was like, tell me about it. And Paul was like, I can't, there are officers here, like, I can't give you more information because people are nearby me right now. I can't tell you. And so Carl was like, this is really fishy, like this new operation he was supposed to get put on, now he's missing, like this is just not like him at all. So then Paul's belongings get sent to Carl's house because he was Carl's next of kin. And Carl found a document that detailed the 5 flights that Paul took as part of Operation Plum Bomb. Mm-hmm. And this is when he started to see, like, oh, he was part of this, like, weapons testing out. There must be something going on here. Like, he's getting a vibe that the Army was either behind Paul's disappearance or covering something up.
Yeah.
So then August of 1958, this is about a month later, his status was changed from AWOL to deserter. And so Paul's commanding officer was named Lieutenant Colonel Charles Lewis, and he was just like baffled by this, that Paul would desert. He's like, there's no way. He never gave me any trouble. He is like the perfect pinnacle of what a soldier is, you know? Uh-huh. And so he's like, there's obviously something going on here too. So the weird thing was one of the military's like priorities is they spend a lot of effort to bring soldiers home, like especially when they die, like to recover bodies and return them to their families, you know?
Yeah.
But there was no effort shown at all to locate Paul's body. And there was no, like, they never contacted the family. Carl was the one that found out by calling himself. And so it was just so weird. And so then Paul's commanding officer, Charles Lewis, he starts to dig in himself and try to find answers. And the military tried to block him out, too, and, like, deny access for him to dig into it. And he was even confronted by his command and told, like, you need to drop this right now. And so he's like, obviously something's going on.
Right.
So Lewis started thinking back, and he remembered multiple times where at the time this didn't really strike him as alarming, but in the months leading up to Paul's disappearance, he remembers seeing some men in civilian clothes on their base that were talking to Paul. And he remembers that these men, like, just kind of freely walked onto the base. They were never really pressed by security or anything. And whenever they would talk with him, Paul would seem like really nervous or like unsettled by their presence.
Okay.
And so he didn't like them being around. And their first appearance on the base, from what Lewis can remember, coincided with Paul's decline in health. So multiple times he sees these men on the base at the same time that Paul's starting to kind of lose it and go downhill. And so a week after he goes missing, Paul's car was discovered over 500 miles away, and this was 40 miles from the nearest town and 15 miles from the main road. So it's like really out in the middle of nowhere.
Wait, how much later?
A week after he goes missing, they found his car.
And it was how far away?
500 miles away.
500 miles away?
So his car's 500 miles away, and where it was 40 miles from the nearest town and then 15 miles from the nearest, like, main road. So it's out in the boonies.
It is, like, we don't want people finding this levels
exactly.
out there.
Yeah, it's out there. And it was like a fish and game warden that found it. It was in the middle of Death Valley, basically. So it's out in the desert, and it had only been there for a week, but it had been in Death Valley, and so the sun had just, like, deteriorated the paint, and there was no physical, like, damage to the car, like dents or anything, but the paint was really faded, and there was no sign of, like, a struggle or, like, foul play in the car. It was normal other than, like, the faded, cracked paint on it. And so the keys were still in the ignition. That was one weird thing. And then Whipkey's dog tags were on his briefcase that was in the seat, and he had some personal belongings in there, and that was found on the seat. So the Army comes out around the same time, right after they find the car, with an official report, and they basically say, like, oh, he had a severe mental breakdown due to his upcoming assignment that he was on. He was really stressed about it, and so he just had this crazy mental breakdown, and he wasn't thinking, and he abandoned his post, and he just wandered out into the desert and died of exposure. So that was the official report. It was like a mental breakdown. Stress due to an upcoming assignment.
That doesn't I don't like that.
Doesn't track for me either.
Doesn't feel good.
And so the weird thing about this was, again, there was no effort to recover his body at all. Like, the military didn't send anybody out for 9 months. So it was 9 months.
9 months?
Yeah, it was 9 months before they even went to search at all for his body. And they never found anything, no remains or anything. So that's basically the story. And so over the next 25 years, his brother Carl tries to gather all this evidence of things that he's seeing and the cover-up, and believes that there were a few different theories of kind of what happened. So to recap, there's a few things that Carl found out. So on July 10th, Paul went to a place called White's Motel that was in Mojave in the desert.
Okay.
And he signed in and out of the hotel, like, logbook. Then he went to purchase 14 gallons of gas in Mojave, and that was enough fuel to get him to where his car was in Death Valley, that 500 miles, I guess. 14 gallons, that seems like a lot to go 500 miles. Maybe cars back then got better gas mileage, or he already had gas in the truck too or something. But so then, so Carl believed that Mojave, where he was at this gas station and hotel, was more of like a meeting point for Paul, and that he didn't drive the car after he went to the motel, because when they found the car, there were a bunch of cigarette butts around it, and Paul had never smoked in his life. And so Carl believes that somebody took the car from him in Mojave and drove it out to the desert. And then there was a local rancher that reported seeing that vehicle matching Paul's description on the same day that he disappeared. But it was a man in military uniform driving it. And when Paul left the base, all of the base personnel agreed that when he left, he was in civilian clothes. And then when they found his briefcase and his car, there was no military uniform in the car either. And so, or civilian clothes, there was none of his clothes in the car. So it wasn't like he changed or did anything, and he was reported as leaving in civilian clothes. So that goes to further the theory that somebody else was driving the car.
Yeah.
And then, so around that time, too, there was another Army aviator that was serving with Paul. His name was Charles Guess. He was a first lieutenant. And he, on July 22nd, so this is 12 days after Paul goes missing, he takes off in a recon plane, and the recon plane vanished. And so then they discovered the wreckage like a year and a half later. Sorry, I have hiccups. A year and a half later, in September of 1959, on White's Mountain in the Inyo National Forest. But the wreckage of that plane had a different serial number on it than the plane that Guest took off in. And he was in the same operation doing the Operation Plum Bomb stuff with Paul too, and had similar radiation sickness symptoms. And so Carl's just like, there's no way that there's this coincidence of two guys working on the same operation. Like, my brother goes missing, and there's his car's found with cigarette butts and these weird anomalies with his disappearance, and then this his coworker and close friend goes missing in the plane. They cover it up with a different serial number. this is crazy. And he's finding all this out through, he's requesting documents from the FBI through the Freedom of Information Act. So he's going through like old documents to find out all this stuff, and over 25 years just piecing this together. And so he goes back to the FBI to get more documents about Charles Guest, the guy that crashed in the plane, and the FBI had burned all those files relating to his case a year before he requested them.
Wow.
So he's like, something big went down. Like, this is crazy, because the FBI doesn't just burn files. Like, that's insane. So Carl believes that there's two possible conclusions. I want to get your thoughts on what you think happened too. So theory one is that Paul was approached by an intelligence agency, whether it's CIA or some other similar agency, to be recruited, and they knew that he wouldn't survive because of his sickness, so they recruited him to kind of do this crazy clandestine operation to either one as like a human test subject for chemical weapons testing or like nuclear weapons testing, or they were doing stuff at like Area 51 around there, and they recruited him for that. They basically recruited him for some weird assignment, and that's why Paul told his brother months before, like, hey, I got this cool assignment coming up. And that would also explain the men that would come and talk to him on the base too. So theory one, he's recruited for some crazy thing, and then they end up killing him, or not, like either killing him or causing his death through the radiation, like
testing
all that kind
on
of
him,
stuff.
and then he ends up dying because of it.
Yep. And then theory two is the human experimentation. So that's where, I guess theory one is they hire him because they know he's going to die already. So they hire him for some crazy operation knowing he's not going to survive and he can't give the word out. Theory two is that they're testing him and doing tests and experimenting on him. And so this was right around the time of the Cold War again, and so nukes are being tested. And the theory of like why they would have killed him is because if word got out that the military was doing like testing on their own soldiers, or that they're putting their soldiers in danger through these tests, the public would be like, that would be a huge public outrage.
Yeah.
And it would cause a huge, like, it would basically halt any nuclear weapons research that they had going on at the time, and they'd fall behind the Soviet Union in like our weapons capabilities. So they're like, we got to keep this under wraps, because if he tells the world what we're doing in our projects, then we're going to get shut down, basically.
So when he was like dying there at the end and being confused and all that stuff, do we know what that was from?
Just the radiation poisoning. Like,
from the tests he did.
Yeah, it's well documented that it was radiation poisoning.
Okay.
But that's like one of the big things is the military really wasn't upfront with the soldiers or the public about the dangers of those tests. Like, a lot of those guys that agreed or like were basically signed up to do those tests were told like, this is safe, you'll be fine. But then like it wasn't at all. Right. And so a lot of people ended up getting really sick from that, and he was just one of them. But yeah, so he's just gone. He disappeared. No one is still unsolved. No one's ever found any remains of his other than his car, but his body completely gone.
The car is weird.
The car's weird. Yeah. Like, my thing is, it's convenient if they did get rid of him, like if the army killed him and got rid of him or did something to him, it's convenient for the story of like, he was crazy and he just drove out into the desert and left his car there and then he died.
Yeah.
Like, that fits, but then you have the report of somebody in a military uniform driving the car and the cigarette butts around the car that are all evidence of somebody else doing it. So that's kind of where I lean, is that he was just involved in some shady stuff. And it was like, well, he's going to die anyway. We'll just take him out before.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. That is interesting. That's a weird one.
Yeah. But his brother did in 1982. 1982, his brother Carl presented all of his evidence that he'd gathered over 24 years to the Army Board of Corrections to see if they'd put a new investigation into his brother's case. And they held a 3-day hearing, and they did conclude that there was no evidence to support his status as a deserter. So they changed his status to died in the line of duty, which is more honorable because deserter is like a huge black mark on your record. But the Army never gave any more details about it. Some people think that it's tied in with Area 51, and like the people that were visiting him were like the Men in Black, because around that time period there's a lot of stories of those Men in Black, and they kind of intertwine with UFOs and aliens. So maybe while he was doing his test flights, he saw something that he shouldn't have seen, like saw some type of craft or something, or he was involved in that study and then they just killed him afterwards. But that's another big thing, is maybe he was tied in with the aliens in Area 51 because his base was pretty close to there in the desert. Yeah, quite interesting, quite sad. I'm not confident anything will ever come of like finding him or getting closure on it. But
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Doubt there's much that's going to come from there. A very fascinating story, though.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to hear what I have brought?
I would.
My mysterious disappearance is on one Maura Murray. Maura? M-A-U-R-A.
Maura.
Maura?
I don't know.
Maura. Have you heard of this one?
No.
So, Maura Murray, I'm going to say that. I hope that's right. If it's not, I'm sorry. It was 21 years old. She was a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. She went missing on February 9th, 2004.
This is recent.
A little bit more recent than yours. And it's an interesting story.
How old was she? She a college student?
She was a college student. She was 21 years old. So let's start at the beginning here. So days before, Maura had started to show erratic behavior and kind of seemed out of character. So on Thursday, February 5th, Maura was on duty at her campus security job when she had an emotional breakdown during a phone call with her older sister, Kathleen. Her supervisor found her, quote, completely zoned out and unresponsive. When asked what was wrong, she finally replied, "My sister." It was later revealed that Kathleen, her sister, who was in recovery for alcoholism, had relapsed after her fiance took her to the liquor store, which is a pretty horrible thing to do, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that marriage worked out great. Anyway, so that apparently really rattled her. I guess she must have been really close with her sister, and that probably would piss you off.
Also, yeah, like if you're in the throes of alcoholism and you're so hopeful that they're finally done, like severe alcoholism, that can kill you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So that's a big deal.
And then, so that was on, let's see, the 5th. So February 7th, a few days later, she borrowed her father's... Yeah, sorry, I miswrote this. Not father's friend. Her father's new car. Got a brand new spanking 2004 Toyota Corolla. Ooh. I think it would have ran for
classic.
Decades.
Still running today.
No, it isn't, actually.
Oh, okay.
She crashed it a few hours later, causing $10,000 worth of damages.
Now I feel bad.
So, and again, unlike her. And then a few days later, on the 9th, they're preparing for a trip. I don't know what trip it was, but they're planning on a trip. But then a snowstorm happens at the area, and the school's canceled. No classes. But then that afternoon, she packed her bag full of clothes, toiletries, and textbooks. She then emailed her professors and work supervisor, falsely claiming she would be gone for the next week due to a death in the family. There was no death in the family. She also searched online for directions to Berkshires and Burlington, Vermont, and called about lodging in the area. Surveillance showed her withdrawing $280 from an ATM and purchasing $40 worth of alcohol, and was alone on both occasions. then, so at 7:30 at night, a little bit later that night, somebody calls 911 and basically says, hey, I just got out of, like, I don't know if it was a canyon or somewhere that didn't have cell service, and there was a young girl who crashed a car really bad, kind of thing, and she told me not to call 911, kind of thing. It was just like really weird scenario. So he ended up calling 911 and reporting this. And so what happened was at 7:30, it was a bus driver. His name was Butch. What a great name, right?
Yep.
Butch Atwood.
That's a manly name right there.
It is very masculine. Butch Atwood, dude. Anyway, he stopped when he saw a crashed car and a woman who was believed to be Maura, but we don't actually have any, proof because it's the same car and it fit her description. So it was her. Mm-hmm. But he pulled over, offered to help because she had crashed, and she declined and said that she had already called roadside assistance, which didn't actually happen. She did not call roadside assistance because A, there was no cell service, and 2, I can't remember the other thing, and 2, B, there were no call logs on her phone that they checked at the time that she said. I just had to say the right one, and then it apparently made me fix it. But then he continued driving and then called the police as soon as he got out and able to do so. So 15 minutes later after that, they show up to the scene. Her car, she was not there. No one was there. But her car was there. It was locked. It had impacted a tree, deploying both airbags and cracking the windshield. Ooh. So it was a substantial crash. It wasn't like a I'm stuck kind of thing. Like, and it was a snowstorm, so I'm sure it was just slippery or whatever. But inside, they found many of her belongings, including an empty beer bottle, damaged box of wine, and driving directions to Burlington, along with a stuffed animal and a blank accident report form, like you'd fill out at work or whatever. Yeah. I don't understand that one. Maybe it's just in her car. Notably missing were her debit cards, credit cards, and cell phone, but none of them had been used after that day. Some of the liquor that she had been seen buying earlier was also missing, so she must have taken that with her. And a rag that came from a roadside emergency kit from the car was stuffed into the car's muffler, or muffler pipe, the exhaust pipe in the back. And a contractor later reported seeing a young woman that fits her description quickly moving on foot 4 to 5 miles east of the crash site about an hour later. But unfortunately, he didn't report it for 3 months, or it didn't come up. I don't know. It just says it was not reported for 3 months, which I don't really understand that.
I mean,
maybe when they're investigating, they end up going like, oh yeah, I did remember seeing that a while ago. I'm guessing that's what happened. I
feel like if you see something and it doesn't strike you in the moment as like, oh, that's super weird, but then later you're like, oh, maybe that was tied to this. I could see that.
Yeah, I probably read about it and went, wait a second, I actually
saw it in the news or something.
Yeah. So an investigation started immediately because at that point she was missing and no one had seen her. Thus the definition of missing. But they mostly didn't have any evidence, and they also kind of treated it as a going missing voluntarily kind of case. Like, this was her choice kind of thing. Like, nothing we could do about that. But then in 2009, 5 years later, they upgraded it to suspicious instead of, I guess, voluntary. But, too little too late. You can't.
Why did they upgrade it? Does it say?
It doesn't. It just says in 2009 it was the case was reclassified as suspicious missing persons case and transferred to New Hampshire's cold case unit. So I guess it's does that mean it's reopened? So her father, Fred, and her brothers believe that she was naive and trusting, likely accepting a ride or from the wrong person after the crash. She's too trusting, got in a car with somebody that she shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that doesn't really explain anything else. Her sister, Julie Murray, who launched a podcast about this. There's a full podcast about this case alone. If this interests you, go watch it. I don't know what it's called. But
Julie Murray. I'm going to look it up.
yeah, Julie Murray. But she criticized the police investigation pretty hard because they failed to follow up on key leads, such as a phone number that was found in the car that belonged to a condo owner that was 25 miles from the crash site. Pretty substantial thing you should probably pursue.
Yeah.
They did not. And the family also claims that no one searched the east side of the accident, even though that was the direction she had been reported to head after the crash. They only looked like west or whatever. So I don't think it was malicious, more like
Just negligence.
negligence, yeah.
Incompetence, yeah.
Despite numerous searches, including with some cadaver dogs and a helicopter with thermal imaging, no trace of Maura has ever been found. Cadaver dogs alerted to the scent of human remains in the basement of a nearby house, however. They wouldn't let them dig it up, but then they sold the property, and the new owners allowed it, and they dug it up, and there was nothing.
Oh.
Absolutely nothing.
So the old owners took it with them.
Maybe. Julie Murray revealed that a man whose brother was renting a house near the crash site gave her father a knife he believed was linked to Maura's disappearance. The knife was turned over to police and tested for DNA, but the results have not been made public.
Oh.
But yeah, two decades later, more than, she's still. It's an active investigation. So if if you know anything, report it. See anything, whatever. But yeah, her family continues to hope that public attention and new information will one day solve the mystery. But it's just a few things are just a little weird about that, you know. Why'd she stuff a rag in the tailpipe?
Yeah, well, like, is there any real purpose for that you would do that? I have no idea.
Not that I know of, but that doesn't mean...
That's strange. Generally considered a flawed and potentially dangerous practice to stop smoke. Maybe if the car crashed and somebody did it, it could prevent smoke from showing where the car crash was. I don't know.
I guess if there was smoke.
I would imagine, though, that the car itself was also smoking, not just the tailpipe.
True, but I mean, if that's the exhaust, that's the easiest path for the smoke to go. So it would. Maybe it was smoking a lot, and she clearly didn't want anyone to know about this. She said, "Don't call the police," to the guy. I already called somebody when she didn't. She was lying about everything. There's a death in the family. I'll be gone for a week, is what she said. So whatever she was doing, she's planning on being gone for at least a week.
I wonder if it could be something to stall the car. Like, either somebody did it to sabotage her car or something.
Would that cause...
I'd imagine it could cause something with the exhaust. Maybe it's like a suicide thing where she's blocking the exhaust from getting out, and it's like backfilling her car. The old, like, turn the car on and sit in the garage suicide thing, but she just did it with her tailpipe, and I don't know. But I maybe it would be something to stall the car, too, with the exhaust system having some weird malfunction with it being blocked and then causing the...
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's just weird. It's weird. Wonder what the plan was the whole time.
What's your thoughts? Like, where are you at with the story?
I don't know. It seems a little too weird for it to be just she got in the wrong car with somebody. Seems too simple of an answer, but, then again, the simplest is probably the most likely.
Yeah, well, I mean, her body was never found either, so it's not just she, died in the woods.
Yeah, but she very clearly didn't want anyone's help. So
Yeah.
that's like when the dad's like, oh, yeah, she probably just got in the car with somebody that hurt her. It's just like, well, she didn't accept this guy's help. Why would she accept somebody else's?
Well, I could see the not calling 911 if she was already drunk because she had alcohol with her in the car. Maybe she drank and she was drunk and she crashes and she's like, oh, shoot, I'm going to get in huge trouble if somebody calls the police. So,
Right.
I'm fine. I'm just going to walk away. Don't call the cops. And then that's my thought on that side of it because she's a young college student. Especially if she was either underage. Well,
she's 21.
She bought it. Okay, so she's 21. But, that'd kill your record forever to have drunk driving accident on there. So I could see her being like, okay, yeah, I don't want you to call 911. I'm just, especially if she's drunk too and she's not thinking straight. She's like, I'm fine. Just leave me alone. Don't call 911.
I don't know. I feel like he would have. It wasn't reported that she was drunk, though. I think it said there was one empty beer bottle. I don't think that's enough to get someone wasted.
Didn't you say there was missing alcohol though? Maybe
that's true.
Maybe
I
she'd been
assumed she had
drinking and
just
tossing it
taken
out
it
the
with her
window
when she trekked off into the woods or whatever.
Yeah.
The alcohol to keep you warm, which I'm pretty sure is a myth.
Yeah, it is a myth.
But I guess she easily could have before that as well.
My thought was she's driving, drinking, tossing it out the window to hide the evidence that she's drinking and has an open container. But I don't know.
Nobody does.
But that's the thing is, why would she? It didn't seem like she had any enemies, right?
Yeah, no.
Other than
notably.
Maybe this accident report form. Maybe something happened, and she had a confrontation with somebody because of an accident, or
Maybe
there was somebody that stood to be affected by this accident. I don't know. That's a weird detail, though, too.
It is. I'm kind of choosing to believe that just happened to be in her car, and it wasn't she took it with her in this one specific instance.
Yeah.
But you got to report what was in the car.
Yeah,
so it makes sense.
I have documents shoved down on the side of my seat
absolutely.
from years ago that just sit there.
When I go missing and they're going to look at my car. There was a receipt, 17 receipts for McDonald's.
Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, I tend to think that she was drunk driving and that's why she crashed. But then I think her either getting picked up by somebody or somebody maybe did something to cause the crash, sabotage her car with the rag in the tailpipe or something. I don't know.
I don't either.
But obviously her body's not there, so she had to have been picked up.
I'm now learning that apparently recently they found a fingerprint in the car or something like that. And so they are looking into a new suspect, Stefan Baldwin, who had a previous connection with her, but no formal charges have been filed.
Does it say what his connection was?
I'm guessing love interest, but who knows? Let's see. No, it doesn't. It says a potential acquaintance.
Potential acquaintance. Isn't everybody a potential acquaintance?
Yeah.
What did they ever investigate the dude that did end up calling the police? Butch Atwood.
Butch Atwood.
That sounds like the name. He could either be the coolest, most down to earth man in the world that's manly man but nice, or he could be a serial killer. Butcher Atwood. I bet that was his name. He freaking killed her.
And then called the police about it?
Yeah. Just so that they would get off of his trail. Oh, he reported it? There's no way he's involved. There's no way his name's really Butch Atwood. That's Stefan, whatever dude name was.
Apparently, there are people that also saw this. The Westmans. The Westmans said that Maura did not get into the school bus with Atwood, nor did Atwood get out of the school bus when he spoke with Maura. The Westmans said that the school bus was between them and Maura, and that she had gotten out of the car but did not get on the bus. It seemed that the bus driver talked to her for no more than 2 minutes, and the driver never got out of the bus, or the seat for that matter. The driver drove off, and the car's driver went back to the car. Westman claims the bus driver opened the door and spoke to the driver, who was out of the car. This is exactly what I just read. So, it wasn't Atwood.
Good. He sounded like a good man
Eyewitness
from the
report.
get-go, you know?
Yeah, you never doubted him, did you?
Never.
Not once.
I never called him Butcher Atwood. Never once. Please don't sue me for defamation.
Anyway, those are our disturbing missing cases.
Intriguing.
Mysterious. I don't know what name we're going to go with, but you'll know because that will be the title of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Dubious.
I like it. We had big words last time. Where were they today?
Oh, man.
Esoteric? That's not quite esoteric, is
Dubious Disappearances?
it? Dubious Disappearances.
What does dubious even mean?
I don't know. Dubious? Let's see.
Is it bad?
I don't know. Dubious. It means hesitating or doubting. Alex looked dubious but complied. Or not to be relied upon, suspect. So, yeah. Extremely dubious assumptions. Dubious disappearances. So
Dubious Disappearances.
Suspect disappearances, yeah. Strange.
We'll workshop it.
I like it.
Anyway, thank you so much for all listening to these crazy disappearance cases. If you know of any more and would like to hear, let us know.
We love you. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you very much. And have yourselves a wonderful evening. If it's evening. Morning.
Daytime.
I can't reach.
Goodbye.